Now it's I'm about ready to see some of these picks though. I want the LeBlanc. I wanted the Yone. I was actually about to say Yone, but it just got knocked off the table.
Yeah, it's something that's been cropping up pretty much everywhere. We've seen it in LCS, we've seen it in NA Amateur, we've seen it in Academy. It's super strong right now. Everybody's having fun on the Demon Samurai. But the other meta picks across the board is Pantheon. They just cleaned the whole house with the meta, but it does still leave multiple strong picks up. They have the Kaisa, Aphelios. We do still have the Rumble, the Camille, the Leona that's hovered. Just there's so many good things to pick right now. Like you could pretty much get away with anything in the meta. Just not Hecarim. Don't play Hecarim, folks.
Yeah, no, keep the horsey out until he gets a little bit of a revision. But yeah, you see the Kaisa coming out. Leona's gonna be the answer, and Leona is a really obnoxious pick currently in the meta. I mean, because I'm the sort of guy I like to play casters when I or like enchanters.
Boo.
That's my
Boo.
yeah. I'm one of those guys.
Boo.
And when you get a Leona in the game, she gets on top of you and you're gone in 2 seconds because in the current season, everything is broken. It's more of a question of can you find something that's not broken? Well, we found Hecarim, but moving on past that, there's really just not a lot that can't completely blow up anyone at any given moment. Vayne
Ooh.
locked in
Mm.
again, or locked in for the first time, but once again in the night for Lotus. Nautilus, another champion I do love to play. If I'm not playing enchanters, I'm playing hookers.
Nautilus is not that amazing right now. I'm going to be fully honest with you guys at home. Nautilus does have a lot of weak points right now and can be quite exploitable in the bot lane meta, I feel. And so it is a
Ooh,
comfort pick into Leona. That is something that is true, has been true, is gonna probably be true until the numbers stat wise start changing up a little bit. But overall, Nautilus is quite weak. So we'll have to see what that plays out into the lane. It's a good Kaisa pick because it has so much crowd control. With that depth charge, you can really activate that Kaisa ultimate at pretty much any distance. So lots of synergy there. It's just the character's not strong in and of themselves. Aurelion Soul
right.
is wild. What is happening? I haven't seen that champion
Honestly,
since.
when you didn't comment on it, I was like, "Oh, it's a visual bug. There's no way." But no, you're seeing it too. And a Galio to respond to it, that means that we're gonna be seeing action all across the rift. A fight breaks out anywhere. And you have so many abilities right now that helps you gain entry to those scraps. I mean, Aurelion Soul can fly over, and there's a big Grand Knight Golem coming in hot over the head of everybody. Killer Instinct from Kaisa to join the fray as well. I mean, honestly, I would settle for a Twisted Fate jungle at this point just to really go absolutely insane on the global response.
Pain.
I hope he
Um,
doesn't, but I'm just saying I'd be okay with it.
They did ban away 3 junglers here in the second half. The Gragas, Taliyah, and the Hecarim all taken off the table. Both teams notably haven't picked up their jungler yet. So Lotus probably going to pick it up here and leave that counter pick for the top. It is the Kha'Zix once again. Lights out showing in the game number 2 of our last series. So looking to have something repeatable. But Vlad Banner's only uh, their name's a lie, by the way, as you can clearly see on the screen. So I'm quite disappointed in them there. But they now have the counter pick in the jungle, yet have to give up their top laner.
Yeah, that's always a pretty
Yo,
annoying
let's
situation
go.
to be in. Warwick. I mean, they're just they could be anywhere in like 30 seconds all across the map. Warwick getting into hyperdrive and just zipping all the way over to wherever the opposing squad is a realistic, possibility. And the what I'm really curious about is that ultimate from the Warwick going to be whiffing on the Vayne and the Kha'Zix? Because those are definitely the targets you want. Like hitting a Galio or a Leona with a suppress. Yippee! I got him.
So
But those are fairly mobile, damage dealers on the side of Lotus, with the exception of Gangplank, who has an orange. I don't know if the orange gets out of suppressions though, but I think it does. So I think Warwick might have a little bit of work cut out for him this game.
There was a change to Turbo Chem Tank on this patch, adjusting the Mythic passive actually. It changed it from the tenacity and slow resistance to additional legendary items, and instead now grants ability haste. So I'm imagining that's what the Warwick is going to be opting into, which obviously gives you the speed boost into the slow. So even if you miss your ultimate, you still get that slow proc off. So there's a lot of good things there to be had. I think Warwick is that kind of shot in the dark that nobody was really expecting.
Mhm.
I straight up haven't seen the character in seasons, like full on seasons. I'm not talking about like spring and summer. I'm talking about literal years. So if VBO can make this work, more power to him. It basically buys a ban heading into game two if it does well. So keep an eye on that. It's going to have a really interesting clear speed compared to Kha'Zix. And those two going head to head, I think won't happen as much because I think one team's going to be more focused on helping these laners like the Vayne and the Gangplank, whereas Warwick has such sustainable lanes that he can just kind of hang out, farm hard till six, then become a menace. Maybe go for some early objectives as well in the Dragon and the Herald, which then opens up the map even further.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really curious because, these guys they kind of have different ideas of what they want to do. I mean, both of these compositions are insanely good at catching out enemies. You have the Warwick, the Mordekaiser, the Nautilus, and even the Aurelion Soul to go and find someone who's out of position and all surround them and just kick them a bunch of times. Over on Lotus, you sort of have a bit more of a split pusher in the Gangplank and an insanely strong team fight core with the Leona Vayne and Galio with the
Yeah,
Kha'Zix to
yeah.
just kind of run around and play troublemaker. I think honestly, both of these compositions are absolutely wild, really cool, but I think I like Vlad banners more.
I'm going to disagree with you once again. And here's why. So
Shoot.
Lotus have set up a composition for themselves that in a way is kind of similar to VBO. VBO,
Yeah.
they're going to be very pick focused. They can, like you said, be anywhere in a minute and just really support the lane that's getting ganked between the Warwick and the Aurelion. So the problem being is it's not instant, right? It's not a stage united. It's not a hero's entrance. There is a bit of a delay because you got to get that movement speed started and then actual travel time. Whereas on Lotus, they have a really strong 1-3, which is something you touched upon by having that core of Leona, Galio, Vayne. There's a lot of crowd control there to keep Vayne alive. Vayne is an absolute showstopper right now with the Kraken Slayer and everything else that goes there. And what Lotus have done if they've set themselves up a literal 1-3 with a floating Kha'Zix. If Gangplank can get far enough ahead and be that really dangerous split pusher, then the other three members, the Vayne, Leona, and Galio, can just sit in an opposite lane in the mid lane preferably, and just keep the waves in a stagnant position. They don't need to over push, they just need to be relevant. And what Kha'Zix can do is then float in between. He has that isolation damage. He's pretty quick on his feet, so he can respond to either an engage on the three or a gank onto the one. And they should, in theory, win a 2v2 over the Warwick and Mordekaiser, in my opinion, just based off of damage alone, especially if Kha'Zix can come in and get an isolated Q off. So I think Lotus do have the tools to set up that really, really dangerous split push, and VBO doesn't truly have an answer to that scenario. They have to be so lightning quick on their engage to get to the vein that, again, ease of execution, it's looking a little difficult for VBO, in my opinion.
I'm actually looking at it the opposite way. Trying to manage a split push is can be very, very difficult, and not overextending on either side of the split is one of the harder things to master for any team that does prefer a split push style. And I honestly kind of has the ease of execution here. I mean, Aurelion Sol shores up a lot of the weaknesses that you can run into when you're trying to figure out who to attack because you can't get over there. Aurelion Sol could just fly over the entire map with a hungry wolf right on his heels, and Kai'Sa with a killer instinct can join basically wherever she wants to. So I don't know. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree here, but I do believe that we are about ready to get into the game. So we're going to throw it to a quick broadcast break before we find ourselves on to the Rift and see, can Lotus exact their retribution, or is VBO going to give them one more beat down to get the season going?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to what I expect to be one of the most hype matches that I'm gonna get to cast here in Excellency Heavy League for a while. The defending champions VBO looking to take down once again the second place runner-ups in Lotus, but man, if you've heard any of the communications from Lotus, they are out for blood, but so is VBO on a very early invade. Not going to get to introduce you this time. The hook connects onto JVL, the dredge line. Will only get him to 3/4 HP, but DJ, thoughts on this game as the early shenanigans have stopped?
Well, there are a lot of thoughts to get to. Let's run through the players really quick. Stingus up here on the Mordekaiser, VBO, or Jimmy on the Warwick, Prophet on this Aurelion Soul pick that we will talk about. Gates on the Kaisa, Walnut Support on the Nautilus. Me with the other ones here, Necrox.
Oh yeah, Crooked Serpent gonna be piloting a GP. It is 9K Ego on the Kazakhs, JVL on the big man in mid lane, Alistair and Mr. Kiwi Sim, this bot lane duo. But I'm more curious than the player introductions, DJ. Our analysts were split in their predictions for this game. I'm not sure about you, but I'm on Team Doc. I think draft is a gap in this game. Lotus have my heart all the way through and through in this one.
Why am I not surprised, Necrox? my. I hear some thoughts about this one. There is a reason we haven't seen Aurelion Sol in the meta for a long time. It's because he does a job at his early game roaming, and a lot of people these days do it just as well or better than him and have better scaling kits. What is true about this comp is they are going to need to go to side lanes. You do have Jimmy on the Warwick who can get out there really quickly with the Warwick W. You've got Prophet on the Aurelion Soul. He will be a danger every time he drops off the map. He needs to have lane presence early on against this Galio to make and set up these side lanes for success. You're going to have to carry through this Kaisa, or it's going to get harder and harder as the game goes on. The one positive note is that the carry on the other side is mostly the Vayne, who has been drafted around here. And Nautilus is real good into Vayne, because you press that R button and all of a sudden Vayne loses a lot of her slipperiness in these team fights. I do think as this game goes on, it's going to get easier and easier for Lotus. Oh boy. What is going on here with Jimmy? Look at him taking this red buff away right in the face of Ego.
Yeah, Ego has no idea that this is going down. And you see some trading here, but my eyes are all on this jungle. This is going to be a stolen red buff, and 9K Ego has no clue.
Topside, Gameplate's dying.
No, ooh, good hook there, but an even better tumble away. But man, there is action going on all over the place. Our cameras just can't keep up with it. And you can see that Jimmy, I believe, got away with that red buff. And the pings are now coming down. 9K Ego is just left without a buff.
He is going to try and take away the chicken camp, but he's going to get spotted out. Here comes Prophet. He sees him. He's in a tough spot here. Although Jimmy is a long way away. It is a little dangerous to walk in here on the Aurelion Soul at this point.
We go as Ego will be first to get contact, hop over the wall. Dredge line won't connect, flash away, and JVL is there with the taunt just to secure the safety of his Kazakhs. A very dangerous look, but Ego, slippery as all get out, and gets away.
Yeah, very nicely done there from the Lotus side. Good combination to get the jungler out of trouble. Does trade flash for flash with the support, although will probably hurt Walnut a little bit less considering he does have that Hex flash in his inventory. Nonetheless, nice to get out with that chicken camp in response for losing out on the red buff, so things will stay mostly even here as we're just trading farm around the map. A lot of trading has gone on in the top side. But Galio staying relatively fine in mid lane under the pressure from this Aurelion Soul, who almost always has the early game advantage with those rotating stars.
Yeah, and I wanted to finish our conversation here, DJ, about the team compositions and what we thought about teams in their entireties. I like what Doc was pointing out in draft, that just your global answers here are certainly a lot, but maybe a little bit of action in mid lane. Flash away from Prophet. Good early roam by Kiwi Sim. Throws down the Ignite, doesn't get the kill, but is going to put a lot of pressure on this Aurelion Soul already getting out of this lane.
Yeah, Kiwiism very nicely done there. That's what you want to see again. Aurelion Soul's an early game champion. He tries to use the stars, expands them on the W to get lane priority and roam, but with this health disadvantage, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him. He's going to have to take a base, and that's using priority extremely well there for the support of Lotus as they shove in a wave in bot lane. We'll probably look for a recall here on the Vayne pretty quickly.
Yeah, should be doing that indeed. And I do want to mention that this top lane matchup that we're seeing, down 10 CS very early, And this was a counter pick by Lotus. It was R5, the last pick in the draft into this Mordekaiser, and it's not going well. I mean, when you're down early CS like this, and you're getting shoved in, you lose priority, and now the Seeker's arm guard to negate some of that poke from GP. Singus is going to be dominating this top lane, and what we thought Lotus was a skill check team. They wanted to be able to just win lane, win game, and they're just not doing that, DJ. They're simply behind in every single lane and in jungle.
Yeah, they should be behind in the mid lane for certain, a little bit different in the bottom and top lanes. But, you know, 5th pick GP counter picks, not exactly the counter pick you expect. It's not Camille, it's not Aurelia. GP's picked for the bot lane here. The eggs are in the Vayne basket, just like we saw in one of the games in our earlier series, that one getting out of control as the Vayne scaled up very nicely for the likes of Akuma Glaives. That's what you're really looking for. This GP's ticked over to 6. He has that global presence. They want to be able to answer, and as mentioned on the analyst desk, help out in the split push as the game progresses. So while he is certainly struggling a little more than I would like him to, I think the GP less of a looking for lane pressure kill counter pick, more of a we're going to help bot lane out here and set up for our win condition later on in this game.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, DJ. And now that this team comp has hit level 6, or at least to the side of Prophet and Singus, they're going to have to make some plays, and in we go on top lane. Crooked Serpent is dead, and no way away. First blood, Prophet. Early roam, early money.
Welcome back to the meta, Aurelian Soul. I would love to have heard the comms here from the likes of Lotus. Aurelian Soul, again, such a committed roaming champion. If he goes out of vision, you got to be screaming into your mic that this guy is gone. He can arrive in your lane in an absolute flash with that E, and he shows up in lane, gets an even further advantage for this Mordekaiser. Also picks up that first blood for himself. So very nicely done here from Prophet, and Vlad Banner's doing very well on their draft conditions early on. We can take a look at this first blood. Just a second here. Up comes the replay. Yeah, look at him come here through the wall with that E. Has no idea he's coming until it's too late. Out comes the claw from Mordekaiser. He tries to pop the ulti, but Mord can just heal up, hit that W to get the shield up. It's a great run. Exactly what you want to see, and it is a good early game lead here for the side of Vlad Banners. Do keep in mind, they need to have this early game lead, Necrox, or things will get very, very dicey later on in the game.
And quite literally, as I was saying, I wanted to see Prophet get out of lane. He was already midway through his river. Kiwi Sim's here, JVL's here as well. Good taunt onto one, and here we go. This is the fight back from Lotus. They found their revenge. Kiwi Sim on another beautiful roam, and they claim one back. And the Warwick has found himself to the gray screen this time.
Yeah, Kiwiism roaming up again. This one not on as good a timer. It's definitely going to lose Vayne some of the lane here as this one's under turret, but it does net them a return kill. This one onto the jungler, punishing him for trying to invade once again and make life difficult for 9K Ego. So I do very much like the response, and really had a little bit of egg on the face there from Jimmy. Think he thought he could flash over and then ult the Baron pit wall. Was not expecting to see 4 members waiting for him.
Yeah, certainly a goon squad attempt there. They brought everyone, but here we go. It's going to be 9K Ego that throws himself into the pit. It's the Death Realm onto this Kha'Zix, but he has so much slipperiness that they just can't kill him. And here we go. JBL's come as well. The flash forward from Ego. And Crooked Serpent will take the kill. Prophet's arrived. Good taunt by JBL, and they're going to turn this one around on the Aurelian Soul. It's a good ultimate and a great stun to follow, but it doesn't matter. And what can they get out of this one? The re-engage from this Warwick. It's a great fear. They're going to find Ego on the back end of the fight. JBL's going to be hawked up with that depth charge. Kiwi Sim, great Zenith play to keep his safety for his team. Solar Flare comes down as well. Can they turn this one back? They found the jungler. Jimmy's dead, and so is Walnut. And Lotus find a huge play in the top lane, and they take 3.
Yeah, and hold on here. We'll wait to analyze that as Alistair looks like he's in for trouble.
And there's an ultimate. Alistair dies solo. 2 gates. That is not what you want to see. Alistair so confident in this matchup. JVL TP's bot lane as well. And they lose one of the back end. I believe 4 members actually going down there in total on the side of VBO. And I believe we're going to get a little bit of a replay soon here on that top lane play, but certainly not what Lotus want. Their AD carry getting solo killed in bot lane.
Yeah, but it's a good play. They've taken the gold lead again. They've got Prophet in trouble here. I don't think he can get out of this one.
No way he gets out of that one. Flash does nothing for you. Prophet is seeing stars for the second time. And a good play by Lotus as they secure another kill.
Looks like we're going to be panning to a replay of that top play again. You can see in comes the jungler Ego onto Stingus. Usually a bad play going into the Mordekaiser. You can just ult the jungler, try to win out, but goes invisible, buys some time, allows the rest of his team to roam over. The Galio always going to show up first, and then Prophet a little bit overzealous here. I know he has his ultimate. He thinks he can push them away and survive long enough as he has members in his pocket, but it just becomes a constant stream of players coming into the top lane. Jimmy picks up Ego. Then they try to turn on to JVL, but look at all the CC available between this Galio and the Leona. They try to go in onto Kiwiism. We cannot do it, and we have a fight in the bot lane.
Here we go. Solar Flare going to be thrown down, but the TP from Stingus is arriving. The Mordekaiser showing up to party, but he won't find very much except for an empty bot lane as all of Lotus walk away, and they get a free TP. And well done from a disengage perspective, but yeah, that replay certainly huge roam from Kiwiism, big CC chain, but now the Dragon is on the menu. First one went to VBO, Vlad banners only. They didn't ban out Vlad, but they took the first Dragon, and now they're looking to take their second.
They are looking to take the second here in their position to do so. So despite being down in gold, still taking advantage of their champions at this stage in the game. We'll take that second Drake down, but I don't think Lotus will mind too much. They're just going to try to stack up their gold, get their champions to an acceptable state. They'll probably be looking to contest that third Drake, and with the gold lead already, I think they'll be in a great position to do so. They might even take the full top lane turret here as just hammering away there as Crooked Serpent.
Yeah, and this GP is strong now. He's more than 1,000 gold ahead of this Mordekaiser, so while the early pick might not have, or excuse me, the early advantage might not have gone this way for Lotus, but with that play in top lane, with all that gold in hand, Crooked Serpent looking to be huge this game. Rift Herald, though, is going to go the way of mid lane here for Jimmy and Prophet, and they'll cash in for this Aurelion Soul. Going to get a couple of plates, but maybe an early use on this one, but gold nonetheless.
Prophet's sticking around for a long time here. What is he doing?
What in the world? Prophet? All right. And he left the game, and we're going to run into
I was going to say that
oh,
looked
no.
like it might have been a bug, because if it wasn't a bug, that was reportable. Absolutely. We saw Jizuke do a similar thing in his match at the weekend, staying around a turret way too long, getting punished for it, but he didn't even make an effort to run away. I have to imagine that was a DC of some sort.
Yeah, and as we run into a pause here, you have to feel a little bit bad for Prophet and VBO. They do lose a life, so that one should be sorted out. But I want to go back to what happened in top lane and that solo kill in bot lane. Things happened so quickly. It was a huge play by Kiwiism, and he's been all across the map here. DJ early roams level 3, and then another roam level 6. Each at its individual power spike for a Leona player. So certainly a huge performance, but you know, the trade-off is leaving Alistair in that dangerous 1v1 or even 1v2, and Gates capitalizes.
Yeah, Kiwiism has been all over the map, roaming 3 or 4 times this game, and almost all of those have netted something. First taking down Jimmy, getting the flash out of Aurelion Sol in the early game as well, and then cleaning up that team fight, landing a 2-man solar flare to allow the Galio CC to come in and the gangplank damage to clean it up. He's been huge in this game and has roamed mostly at good times, really only left Vayne alone with a tough wave in one occasion, so has been doing an excellent job and has been earning advantages for Lotus all across the map.
Yeah, and it's certainly a good play here from this Leona, but I want to go back to what our analysts were talking about as we kind of have a little bit of time to think and decompress. Prophet, in this game, picking Aurelion Sol, it's not something that we typically see. And we're talking about early roams. He made one play top lane, but after that, Prophet's really been a secondary thought in this matchup. I'm just not sure how much an Aurelion Sol can do from this far behind.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one here for Prophet. He definitely needed to have more early game impact than he has. It started well with that roam, but the follow-up roams have either been a little bit late or followed by more members of the Lotus squad. And at 1-3-1 here, it's just really hard for him to get back in the game. Aurelion Sol, not a scaling champion. He is a zone control champion, has to use those orbs at the later stage of the game to try to hold people away from him, but he just doesn't have the DPS or the team fight potential that a lot of other mid laners do. It doesn't have the ratios either, and it will be a struggle as this continues on, in particular to deal with the Vayne and the Gangplank as time goes on.
Yeah, and this team fight composition from Lotus is certainly going to have their way when these objectives come through. And while you may think, okay, Vlad Banners Online have 2 dragons and they have everything they need, when it comes time for a Galio Leona to walk into this team, they're going to be absolutely just fine doing that. Leo's going to dive in, Galio will join in, and Alistair going to do a lot of work in that front to back. And we are live, we are back into the action. VBO versus Lotus. And just now noticing this gold lead early on, Lotus have extended this one to just under 3K.
Yep, very strong gold lead here at just 13 and a half minutes. And I think like we've been talking about, will continue to get harder and harder for the likes of Vlad Banners only with their draft. You know, Warwick can get a lot of healing later in the game, but he's a very linear champion, has to go in with that ultimate, latch onto someone to really be useful. He can get a good fear down, but just doesn't have as much potential in that kit as other champions do. People with lockdown like the Galio AoE, like the Leona here, it's just going to continue to get harder. So they need to try to make a couple of things happen and try to win this third Drake fight. That will be the critical moment for the side of Vlad Banners only. If they lose out on that one and have to take more time in this game, it's going to get harder and harder.
This is going to be interesting. It's been a mid-jungle roam that set this one up. Crooked Serpent going to go down, and it was just a quicker move, to be honest, by VBO. Sting is always going to win out on that 1v1 if his full passive gets to tick, and it did as well. So good play there by VBO using that Aurelion Sol, and they get another kill to this Galaxy controller. So we were talking about he was a little behind before, but it's certainly looking better now. They claim one more, and they get, I believe, what was a bounty off the head of Crooked Serpent.
Yep, small bounty there off of Crooked Serpent, and that's more like it. We talked about them needing to make some plays while they still have power. Fortunately for them, that Drake not quite up, so not going to be able to turn that into an objective, but it is another good play from Vlad Banners. They'll need to keep it up, continue to try to get this Mordekaiser some priority in that lane, see if they can make a play around this third Drake that will be coming up fairly shortly.
And as we get ready for that big fight, about 2 minutes on the timer, we get a quick check on where the itemization lies for both of these teams. You're going to see Kraken Slayer, of course, for Vayne. It pairs so well with her Silver Bolt's passive. Every 3 hits going to do a huge chunk of true damage. And on the other end, Gates, the 80 carry for VBO. I believe we're going to see a Kraken Slayer into a Rage Blade to melt through some of these frontliners, such as the Galio and Leona. Or maybe Runats.
Well, we'll see. We've seen some of the memes that maybe Kraken Slayer not as good of a tank busting item. I think those are a little overblown, considering they're probably just very strong tanks at the time that that item is being used. But I like the selection here from Kaisa. She does have the passive, which is the real tank shredder there. It's just going to be about whether she can access them and how much time she gets to auto during fights. There's going to be a lot of CC flying in over her head. She's going to have to contend with Gangplank barrels. The Kazakhs will be jumping on top of her. She will need to pick the right time to use that ultimate. It's going to be a lot to do for Gates. If he can execute, there's always the opportunity to take Alistair out and win the team fight, but it will be very, very difficult just based on the compositions that are playing the fight out.
Indeed, and as we grow ever closer to what may be our game-deciding fight in 30 seconds, final bits of gold coming through. Kiwi Sim doing the dirty work once again, setting up that vision, and our first turret has finally fallen. Crooked Serpent is going to claim that one and get a little bit of extra gold in the pockets of Lotus before this fight breaks out.
He will. You can see the teleport available for him, just about to come up for Stingus, and now trying to set up a play here. Kiwi Sim running into the lane. We'll see if he throws out the Solar Flare.
Yeah, has it in hand. Alistair has the final hour as well. There's JVL, but they dodged this one. It's a good disengage, but the solar player is going to lock down the Kai'Sa. She has no cleanse. Use the ultimate, turns it right back around to Alistair. And now the infinite duress comes down, but it's only on a Leona, and that's a lot of damage. Jimmy's dead to rights. And they get Alistair. They get the heal, the flash off the AD carry. But a huge play there by Lotus.
It is a huge play. It will be that critical third break that really was needed by Vlad Banners to make this draft worth it. Oh! Boy, he's flashing in there on the top side as they do this straight. Did take him down. Very nicely done by Stingus to take advantage of the lack of members on the other side of the map. Flashes in, picks up another kill. He will continue to be a threat for Vlad Banners, but they have lost that Drake we talked about. It's going to take another 5 minutes now to try to get to that critical soul that they would need to contend with the late game team fighting available on Lotus, and it is a huge win for that Lotus side.
Yeah, I mean, this game is close. We're going to get a little bit of a replay here on that bot lane fight that's set up to stop the soul stacking.
I can see it coming in here. We're talking about Kiwism holding on to that solar flare, realizes she's going to cut him off, throws out that Zenith Blade. It's a good flash by Gates to initially get out, but you can see Kiwism flashing in on top of her. She actually picks up the Vayne, but there's just too many members here. Gates not healthy enough to go back in and try to help out Jimmy. Gets an ultimate out, but there's no way you're going to take down 3 members with 1.5, and it's an easy team fight win for Lotus.
An easy team fight win indeed. It was a good disengage actually to avoid that hero's entrance with the Gallia, but nonetheless they still find a 2-for-1. They get the dragon, and Stingus will be working his way for this Rift Herald. They're going to grab that objective for his team single-handedly. This is a little interesting. 9k ego actually going to hop into the alcove, do some alcove gaming, and he's going to stick around for a little bit, see if they can find anything. But very respectable play, and oh, not as I say it too quickly. Gates is shut down, easy as you like. Jimmy's arrived, but both TPs coming in now, and the infinite duress whiffs. There goes the claw back, and the team fight's huge, and a great stun by Prophet. But what can they find off of it? It's a double kill to Serpent, and this one's gonna be Lotus every day of the week. Alistar picks up his first. The resets are coming in from Ego, and he throws him back, but it doesn't matter. JVL's tanking up the turret, stun, taunt, and killed. 14-6 on the scoreboard, and it's a 5-0 ace before 20 minutes. Lotus clean house.
Yeah, it's a clean ace for Lotus. It's exactly how they would have wanted the team fight to go. They get the initial CC down onto the dangerous member of Vlad Banners. That Kai'Sa falls before any answer can come. Teleports are too late, and by the time they all arrive, there's just not enough damage left to shred through the opposition. Allows them to run rapid, and it's easy. We're going to take a look at that one more time here. Watch, keep your eyes on Gates here. We can see the alcove gaming going on. It's a bit of a long replay here. So we're going to wait for this Kha'Zix to bounce into the bush, but keep your eye on Gates here and Kiwiism, who has the engage. And here it does come, going to pop off of this last
We're gonna have to cut you off there, DJ. Picture in picture. We're gonna have to go back to live, stunned up, and JVL's joined the fight. 9k egos on a rampage. Crooked Serpent as well. And they find too, they don't want us to look at the replay, as Lotus are not done fighting. They are thrilled to find blood and taking revenge in this series, and they are taking control of this set. 16-6, and they're on the Baron. 3:22 minutes. This is early for this Baron call, but I don't think you can contest without a jungler. Jimmy, nowhere to be found. They find a little bit of CC. JVL, rocket belt forward, and the fight's gonna break out, and they found Stingus once more. JVL's on a killing spree, and that's gotta be the Baron now. There's no way they contest. To be fair, the health bars are low. 3k on the Baron. They're gonna look for this one. Great locket to keep everyone healthy. And the Baron goes down. What else can they find though? Prophet is here. Gates putting in the Acathian Rain. JVL's left this one. Alistair kiting, but it gets hit by a good dredge line, and Gates is found. Alistair, JVL's nowhere to be found. The TP may just come back in. Infinite rest on the bot side of the fight. Jimmy's gonna find one. They clean everyone up. Triple kill to the Kai'Sa, and he plays it so beautifully. And Lotus lose 4 members after they pick up the Baron.
What are they doing, Necrox? Why did they flash out the back of the pit? There's multiple flashes available for them here. Everyone goes back in. You mentioned it. They were so low health. I like the initial play. They get the pick inside the jungle. They're using their strength. They're using their presence on the map to find a pick. They get onto the Baron. They realize they're getting a little low. They decide to turn off it and get a pick. As soon as you turn off that Baron, you've got to bail out of it at 22 minutes. That thing is shredding you, even as strong as you are. That Baron is so powerful this early into the game. And Jimmy had respawn, was balling or is hustling his way up into that upper jungle. They try to take on the full fight, hoping that they can win it. But Alistair goes in too early, gets hooked, gets ulted on, gets taken down, and then there's nothing left. They lose 4 members. There's only 1 Baron left, and while I do think they still have the scaling on their side, it's another huge throw for them, giving a lifeline to the likes of Vlad Banners Online, who looked completely cooked in this game before that.
Yeah, that's one hefty lifeline. Solar Flare is thrown away as well. KiwiSim, no ability to link that long range engage, but at short range, it's Gates that has found himself in a little bit of trouble. Ticking down to Ignite, he might die into the top end of the fight, but Singis is going to go low. KiwiSim trying to flash forward, trying to find the play, but he just doesn't find it, and Walnut will be the sacrificial lamb for the sins of this Aurelion Soul. A couple more autos from Alistair would do it, but they just don't have the distance, but Flash will cover it, and the cannon barrage to rain down hell on this Aurelion Soul. Ego picks up the dragon at the top end, and Prophet goes down. You thought maybe that there was a chance that VBO could get back into this game, but Lotus shut the door and closed the light out of this squad.
Yeah, that's more like it there. Once again, they get on top of Gates early in the fight. It was a bit of a split approach there from Vlad. I believe 2 members down on the left side of the pit, 3 members inside the pit. They split out. Gates is too isolated. They get on top of him just like this. And they take him down too early. And again, no damage left if Gates goes down. Anytime he falls or goes low health early in the fight, you can pretty much guarantee that Lotus is gonna win it. And they're gonna take that Drake, push into the enemy base with that 1 Baron, and take down the first inhibitor of the game.
Respectful play here from Lotus, backing away, don't want to risk anything in the 4v5. While they do have the numbers advantage, they will simply rotate to top side and use the full effect of this Baron. But of course, Caster's Curse, it wears out as soon as I mention it. So Lotus will back away, can't pressure the turret without those Baron empowered minions, and will take their recalls with a hefty gold lead to spend, and their pockets are going to be very heavy with the items that are going to influx in.
Yep, going to be a lot of items coming in on these backs. Just 25 minutes into the game. We'll keep our eyes there. Again, another Rage Blade has been picked up for the Vayne. Looks like it might be working. Not exactly sure what this third item she's working towards is here. We do see the Quick Blades coming in for the Gangplank, who quietly has 9 kills out of this top side. Crooked Serpent really making work happen there on that Gangplank. 3 items for him, and very close to the 4th as that BF sword is in the inventory. Just a big item disparity. And going in, here's the jungler.
Yeah, here we go. Infinite Duress gonna come down, but I don't think that Jimmy ever wins that in isolation. Excellently done there by Ego to pick himself up a free kill. And with the gold advantage, with the map advantage, and with all the advantages now that Lotus have found themselves with, they will apply pressure, they'll take vision, they'll take turrets, and they just might opt to crack open the base here with this respawn timer. 20 seconds on Warwick. So you're going to have to wait until that jungler's back online, but Lotus certainly looking to press the issue here on Stingus, and he is just dead. Prophet's going to fly in on the back end, trying to find anything, but there's just too much damage here. Now in isolation, Prophet has to be careful, and flash forward from Ego sets the parlay up to kill, and Crooked Serpent has found his 12th this game. Depth Charge will find the AD carry. Alistar being respectful, flashing away, but Gates goes into the back line. Not sure he wins that 1v1. JBL's given him the magic shield, but he still wins the 1v1 regardless. Gates has found the enemy AD carry. Maybe this is a fight for them to win, but Walnut's so low, and Crooked Serpent CP'd into the back. It's a double kill for the GP. He collects the bounties, and he collects the heads of VBO, and that's gotta be game as they find themselves yet another ace. It's a triple kill to Serpent.
That certainly will be, and Serpent ends up with all the glory here on the Gangplank. Gates doing everything in his power to try to win out on that one, but he didn't quite have the time or the damage yet to get that second kill, potentially reset the fight. It's still a base that is fairly alive here as a couple members respawn, but they will lose out on all 3 inhibs and will certainly just be waiting for the death knell at the end of this game.
And they have been incredible on this GP. Singis goes golden, trying to avoid as much damage as possible. Flash away from JVL. The stun may find the mark here, and indeed it does. Orange is a little early, and a great insect from the Serpent, and they will lose their life. Mordekaiser Singis finds an easy kill, and uh-oh, Jimmy may be in a little bit of trouble now as he found himself in an awkward position, has to flash away from the solar flare. In comes the stun, doesn't find the mark, and Lotus may have overextended here, but I don't think it matters too much. They still have a sizable lead, and in 2, maybe even, yeah, it's 3 inhibitors down, triple inhib.
Yep, triple inhib going to be very, very hard to clear all those supers away. Really don't have a lot of damage in their kits to do so, and unfortunate for Crooked there, falling to the likes of that Aurelian Soul Insect. I think that looked like a player who hasn't played against an Aurelian Soul in quite a while, not quite buffering the stun there on the queue for Aurelian Soul at the right time. But as you mentioned, not really going to matter too much. The lead here, 12K on 29 minutes for the likes of Lotus. Again, they have the better team fighting and scaling composition. They're about to wrap up their 3rd Drake, and they'll just be waiting for the right opportunity or pick to march into the base and end this game number 1.
And while this isn't soul for Lotus, it's just the icing on the cake. They don't need the soul, they don't need anything fancy. They'll just march on over to the Baron and claim that one themselves here. It is absolutely theirs, and not really sure that VBO can contest. If they do, maybe close. We saw Lotus, I'd say the word throw a fight around Baron earlier. They sort of stuck fish in a barrel style, but you can see with triple inhib, it takes so many members to clear out the super minions that Baron goes down in a flash.
Baron is gone there. No way to contest that with triple inhib. Taken down inside your base just takes way too long to clear. It's a free one for the likes of Lotus, and it should be the final push. Look at the itemization for them. 3 items and boots on the vein. 4 items and boots on that gangplank, plus an Executioner's Calling, and as well as this Edge of Night for the Kazakhs. Keep him safe as he tries to jump in. Last defense is going to be mounted here. See, there's that Edge of Night, now going to jump away.
It's been Death Realm, but only thrown onto the Leona. Kiwi is going to be the one in the Death Realm, and this fight's going to break out. JBL is going to find only 1 on the taunt. Kiwi's low, but it doesn't matter. Solar Flare will go down. They trade back support for support, but Singis has gone down in the process. Infinite duress, but he's locked up inside the hero's entrance. It's a lot of damage from Prophet, but Alistair is still here, kiting under the turret. Alistair goes down. Unlucky, but it doesn't matter. He finds himself a double kill, and it's an ace to the side of Lotus. They will take down VBO in just over 30 minutes in game number 1.
Yeah, they certainly will. It's a nicely played game from the side of Lotus. An early revenge here for them. Not going to be able to drop this series, but still could be a draw in the 2nd game. We'll see if they can get full revenge and take this momentum into game number 2.
Draw or not, I'm sure it's better than a loss in the finals. They're certainly happy with this one, taking a game at least off of this VBO squad as they looked quite well, other than that Lotus Baron throw, which is their classic, if you will, and they do get that mistake. But other than that, it was a clean game and well executed by Lotus. They knew their win conditions, they knew their team fight was better, and Crooked Serpent looking really good on that GP as well. But with that being said, game number 2 certainly going to happen soon. But to break down the performance in game number 1, we're going to bring it on back to our analyst, Doc. Take it away.
Well,